And last but not least, man, let's talk about Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Sure.
And I'll confess, the time of me, talking about this, I literally saw this show about an hour and a half ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. But I had just enough time to have my final thoughts on what I thought about the show, right? So I will do the synopsis for this, right? And then you can jump into the review, right?
Yes.
So much to everyone's surprise, boy, we were informed that we were getting this biography of Weird Al Yankovic, right?
Right.
I mean, when it comes to just pop culture of the 20th century, yeah, I mean, he is synonymous with that, especially with music, just music of the 80s onward, right? Because yeah, he is one of the most iconic figures, right? Because yeah, he more or less carved a niche of his own and say, here's what, I'm just gonna do parodies of just Billboard top 100 hits, and that's exactly what he did, right? Whether it's like a surgeon or I'm fat
Right.
or eat it, he just did that shit. And what's amazing though is that he was no one trick pony. He wasn't some one hit wonder. He just carved a whole career out of that, right? Now I'll confess that I did not see his feature film, his first feature film, UHF, right?
Right. Yeah, I saw
Uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah, really, main reason is because I just heard about how bad it was, right? I just heard it for years
It's
about how bad it was. I just say, all
well,
right,
it is.
I don't
It
need to
is.
see that shit.
Yeah, it is a perfect wear-out vehicle. To be fair, like it just so silly, but it's the perfect wear-out vehicle. Like where you think a wear-out movie should be. Well, it's the perfect setup and template for what a wear-out movie should be. That's it. Like
Yeah,
you don't get more than that.
but
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
here's the thing, while watching this show here, boy, I was like, this actually had to be inspired by UHF, boy, but
Yeah, yeah.
it
No, it
somehow
feels
it
it's
feels
a
like it's
great
inspired by
it's a great.
UHF, boy.
No, yeah, you're right.
Even though I never saw it. Huh?
No, yeah, it's a great companion piece to UHF in my opinion. I do think so. You are correct.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, look at that. Right. Yeah. And I will say though, like I have not sought out all of his albums, right? Because yeah, he put out a lot of albums, right? But the one for me personally that stuck out to me the most, that's the one that the only one that I've listened to, is a little project he put out in 2006 called Street Out of Linwood. That
Right,
was the one that was like,
right.
all right,
White
well,
and nudie. Yeah,
yeah, White and Nitty. This
yeah,
was him in the 2000s, still doing this shit and still making it work, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, he had White and Nitty, which was of course a parody of Chameleonaires,
Right and
uh, yeah,
right and dirty.
Raiden, yeah. He did Canadian Idiot, which is of course a
American
play
right.
on American Idiot.
Yeah.
He did Trapped in the Drive-Thru Dread, which was this 10-minute, close 11-minute epic version of, well, R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. If you haven't listened to it, you should listen. It's amazing. It is really amazing, right? He even did a version of Beautiful. I believe James Blake did it. You're beautiful. You're
Right.
beautiful, right? He did You're pitiful. It's like one of the funniest things ever, right? But yeah, I was just amazed at how this man was able to keep himself relevant even in the 2000s, bro. You know what I mean? I haven't checked out anything else before after like that, right? But I mean, I do know about Amish Paradise. I do know about I'm bad. Sorry, I'm fat, and songs like that. I know about the stuff earlier on, right? But that Straight Outta Linwood album, yeah, blew me away, right? So yeah, I like many people were surprised that we were getting this film here, right? And even more surprised it was who was playing him, Dread. Daniel Radcliffe of all people.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Radcliffe, like what? And I'll talk about him because I have a like this man have a future in terms of just doing just weird, obscure comedic performances, right? Because I really enjoyed him in Guns Akimbo, right? Which
Right.
just off our premise alone is so batshit crazy, but it's my kind of shit. I love that. But yeah, for the moment I saw him in that, I was like, yeah, this man have a future
Yeah. That really.
in
Yeah, like,
those kind of
I know him in
movies.
comedy for what you call it by oh gosh with Paul Dano. What's the name of that movie again, boy?
Swiss Army Man,
Swiss
yes. How
Army
could
Man.
we
Right.
forget
Yeah.
Swiss Army Man? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. How could we forget that? Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, just these weird roles though, but it just has so much great comedic timing, right? But anyway, so yeah, we were all surprised, right? But even more surprising is what this show actually is, right? So on paper, it is a biopic on Al Yankovic, right?
Right.
We see his early come ups, when how he acquired his first accordion. His parents who's just like, no, that's the devil's instrument, blah blah blah, and we don't want you doing that, right? The dad wants him to work at his factory and all that kind of stuff, right? And his friends, his three friends, who I highly doubt are actually real, but maybe they are, right? I'll talk about that. The whole maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Well, Wikipedia says they are, right? But whatever, right? But they all like, yeah, what I mean, you have a chance, what I mean, because yeah, he was just a struggling musician, right? And then he just decides, with through a great bit of, it's just one of those circumstantial kind of moments, though, involving a hit song, and he just comes up with this idea for a parody song, right? I'm not gonna say which one, it was a popular one, right? And yeah, his career just kind of picks up from there, right? But what this show actually is now is a parody of musical biopics, right?
Perfect. That's what's so clever about this.
And
We basically get Dewey Cockstrut.
yes, Walk Hard, which is
Yeah.
still one of my favorite comedies of the 2000s. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it took that show, by the way, took Walk the Line now.
Right.
The Johnny Cash biopic,
Yeah.
and yeah, John C. Reilly and them just say, yeah, well, we just gotta make fun of that shit, and yeah, that was
Yeah.
one of the funniest shows I saw in the
Yeah.
2000s. Bar none, John.
Yeah.
Hey man, we got cocaine, but you don't want none of that shit.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that show, right? And it's just, and what really made that show work though is just taking the familiar beats of Walk the Line and saying, yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. Oh, he succumbs to drug addiction. Oh, he succumbs to alcoholism. Yeah, we're gonna do all that stuff. We're gonna do all that beat for beat, and we're just gonna make this funny as hell, right? And yeah, this show does that, boy. But because it's Al Yankovic, though, it just takes it to a delightfully and much unexpected for me now, absurdist level, Jared. And I
Yeah.
was just like in awe of it all. You know what I mean? But yeah, but let me just calm myself down for a bit, because again, I just like saw it about an hour or so ago, right? But yeah, Ricardo, haven't seen it, probably long before me. Yeah, what were
No,
your thoughts on
I
this
saw it a
show?
couple days ago, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, what was your honest opinion on this
I was
movie?
just I was so glad they did this. I was like, oh, this is like the perfect thing, because it took me a while. My brain was like, oh shit, they're doing this instead of and I was like, oh, that's so much smarter to do than just this nonsense now. And I instead of taking itself seriously or anything like that, they just decide, nah, we gotta do this as it is, as a parody of, well, music biopics. Like, I agree. That is very clever and well done, and I loved it. I thought it's the best possible option you could do for something like that. And it just really clever and well done. And I was just like, wow, they did. And then they give us like style of humor is still very, very UHF type of style of humor. Like it's like exactly what I expect them to do, what you should do in that context, and why it makes sense. And then they make it work for what it is in terms of there's the humor and then the jokiness and the silliness. I just love that they decide to take this approach to the whole thing. It's very, very clever and well done.
All right, all right, all right. Well, yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Because yeah, I just went in thinking, okay, there's gonna be this shaman biopic. You're just gonna see this outcast, this social outcast of sorts, with accordion and a dream. You know what I mean? Make it big, and you'll just see like from the 80s to like up until Amish Paradise, where ironically the film stops off at, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll just see how he was just able to carve his own niche. You know what I mean? Over
Yeah.
the rapid development, sorry, of of pop music, right, in the 80s
Yeah.
and 90s, right? But this show just kind of comes out and say, nah, we're gonna
Yeah.
do that, but
You
nah,
do
nah,
you
nah, we
you
we
do
we
your
gonna
own
do
thing.
our own thing. We're gonna do
Yeah.
our own thing. And I was just in amazement of it all. But at
Yeah.
first I said to myself, all right, I'm not sure if it will stick the landing.
Yeah.
um I was actually worried that it might go, like, no disrespect to SNL. Like I was worried that it was gonna do
The
it
SNL
was
thing.
like it was gonna feel like
Yes.
just a bunch of SNL sketches strung together.
Right.
But like,
Right.
nah, they just kept this thing as consistent as possible, boy. A couple missteps here or there, like a couple of jokes that don't really land as well.
Yeah, you're right about that.
But it's fine. But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
You
even though
can expect that, you know.
yeah, even though the premise and the setup is not as good as the premise and the setup is brilliant. I felt they could have done a better job with squaring out that some of these ideas better though. And some of the delivery of the material could have been a little better. That's about it. Nothing
Okay,
major.
okay.
Nothing else I
Yeah.
had a big problem with.
Yeah,
Uh
and it kind of does something weird too, right? Where, well, without spoiling anything, I'll pretty much go through a change, right? A forced change, and he kind of sees himself as, oh, I'm gonna just be doing original music from now on. And I love that they just the
Yeah,
perfect sound they use now
yeah,
to kick things off is "Eat It," and he is so adamant to keep telling people, no, this
yeah.
is my song,
And
this is my song. I
that's a
love that.
great running joke, eh?
Yes, yes,
That's
it
such a
is.
great running joke. And what I like about it, well, two things. One, all the cameos had me cracking up, Judd. Like,
Boy, when
listen,
I see Jack Black, but I was like,
right?
wait, I stopped the show. Like, wait, the
Yeah, it have a ton of
dog,
cameos.
you,
Yeah,
you in
but
this?
and then the cameo by Weird Al himself, which is very funny. Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
and
That
then I
was
know,
great.
but it's just little things like Quinta B as Oprah, and and
Oh,
then
oh, when I saw that, I was like, yeah,
yeah, that
love that,
cracked me up.
love that, love
Yeah,
that, love that, love that,
that
love
cracked
that,
me up.
love that.
They get a bunch of people. They get Conan O'Brien in this journal. Like, what the ass?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and dude, the character he plays, Joe,
yeah,
perfect, perfect,
yeah.
perfect, right?
They got, I
Um,
think, who just was playing Gallagher, boy, Paul F. Tompkins, I think. They just got a bunch of
yes,
great
yes,
comedy,
yeah, they get Paul F. Tompkins, way.
a bunch
They
of
get
great
this
comedy.
guy to play Salvador Dali, boy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Emo Phillips. No,
yeah,
no, like, all right. So without spoiling anything, like, there's this party, right? This pool party, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like a who's who of like celebrities. What I mean celebrities? I mean like back in like the 70s and
Right.
80s, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect to see Divine Jet. Like if you're familiar
Right. Right.
with
Yeah.
John Waters' Pink
Yeah. Yeah.
Flamingos, right? Which you actually should watch, right? It's like, would she in this too, or should say he
Yeah.
in this too? What, you know what I mean? But this is it Dali that caught us by
You
surprise,
know.
man. Because yeah, I mean, it's if you really think about it, it's that style of absurdism, Dre, that Al kind of
Right.
revolutionized in the
Exactly.
80s, right? And what this show makes fun of. It kind
Yeah.
of revels in it too, you know what I mean? But yeah, when I saw Dali in this, I was like, wow, boy.
Yeah.
And points for Conan O'Brien, who plays Andy Warhol, right? And
Right.
just the line he drops, I was like, yeah, perfect. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it, right?
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah,
Like,
as I said, the script itself works because when I saw Toby Huss in the beginning, Toby Huss plays one of my favorite characters in *Halt and Catch Fire*. Um,
right.
so as I said, Toby Huss in this, he played the
Um,
father. He played,
there's a moment involving him and a salesman, Dre.
yeah.
I nearly
Nice.
did laugh
Yeah.
when I
So
see that. I
when I
was like,
watched it, I was like,
what?
all right, so this not they not play this straight at all. Then I didn't realize they not play
Yeah.
this straight at all. I like, 'cause I went in it. I didn't watch the trailer or anything like that. I went in this completely blind. I just knew Daniel Radcliffe was playing Weird Al. All right, what are they gonna do with it? And you're wondering if they're gonna play it for real now, like if they're gonna do it real serious or something like that. It's like nobody. Let's make a parody of a music biopic, and that's what we got. And they make it work. But what they do is they slip in a bunch of great jokes about Weird Al himself,
Yes,
like
yes.
actual jokes and actual things about his life. So if you know what to look for, you'll be like, all right, great. I know like this one great line where you say something like what musician who's not problematic or got into drugs and so like that, because his character has a meltdown, but that didn't happen at all. Like when I never had a drug problem was ever problematic in any workable sense or anything like that. Like
No, no.
so that way they make it like that. It's like, yeah, he stayed relatively clean, that his legacy is like quite solid actually, all things considered.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just thought it was very clever in what they did with it. As I said, the only problem I had with it is that I felt some of the jokes could have landed a little better. Like
Agreed, yeah.
it's still very 90s SNL dumb human Mike Myers bullshit now. Like that kind of jokes
Yes,
that
you're
was
right. It, it,
yeah,
it did have a 90s feel to it, though,
yeah
unfortunately.
it totally felt
Well,
like
fortunately and unfortunately.
right, yeah, and it's up to you. Look, that's a generational thing, right? But it's up to you. But like for me, I'm look, we're millennials. Like we want faster. We like some 90s humor, but it's like the weird off the cuff 90s humor that Weird Al was part of, but not this. Again, what make it work is all the cameos is quite good and funny.
Yeah.
I think Patton Oswalt was in the crowd in one concert. That was funny in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah. Well, that's how he feels like, oh,
Yeah,
you in this too? Okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
I was surprised to see Reed Wilson in this though. Like
right.
the character he plays.
He
Yeah,
was
perfect,
absolutely
perfect,
hilarious
perfect.
in this run. Like what they do with he, and there's a great scene involving some what is he? What drug it was? Boy, is
It
Quaalude,
was, it
some
was LSD. It was LSD.
LS, right?
Yeah.
That shit had me cracking up, John.
Yes,
Like it's
boy.
like, wow,
that,
this
that
real,
was
John.
funny. That was funny.
And they're ready
But
for
that's a touch
bullshit.
of the whole 90s humor. What this show actually remind me of a little bit more too similar to not just Walk Hard, the Naked Gun series, right?
A
Because
little bit,
of just
yes.
the level of basically what it is like just taking a particular genre and just flipping it and saying, hey, we just gonna have fun with it. We're just gonna make it so over the top you can't help but laugh. And yeah, like they went over the top with this one with this one though. And but it really does have an early 90s feel, like a very Naked Gun. Oh gosh, I forgot the guys who helmed the airplane.
Chuckles.
Yeah, it has a Zucker Brothers style kind of humor to it too,
Yeah.
like a sort of zaniness to it as well, right? Which I would say nearly works, right? There's a couple of moments that kind of fall flat, right? But I was honestly worried that it wasn't gonna hold on to, like, they was just doing this thing and eventually just gonna fall apart because they just do it too much. Nah, they just kept it flowing good though. Even right down to the end, that caught me completely by surprise. But the more I thought about it though, the more it actually worked, and the more I just found myself laughing even more. Um, I think just really in general that, yeah, Eric Appel, this is actually his debut feature,
Okay. Okay.
and
Wow.
yeah, and Ali Yankovic, who, both of them wrote the script, just literally had the balls to say, yes, this is what we're gonna do. This is what our Al Yankovic biopic is going to be. It
Yeah.
is going to be silly, it's going to be stupid, but you're gonna have fun, and it's going to be laughing your ass off. And that was me throughout that. I did not expect to enjoy this so much. I expect to laugh so much in it. And really, really what holds the show together, and I have to give mad props to him, boy. Daniel Radcliffe, boy. This man
Yes.
came
He's great.
through with easily one of the best performances of 2022, Dread. And
Yeah.
largely just because he just stuck to the character. Even
Yeah.
when shit is going crazy, when he is being crazy, he is still Weird Al Yankovic true and true. He is still
Yeah.
this compelling character that you want to see succeed, but because of the show and because they're poking fun at music biopics, even when he goes off the reels, you're still like, oh gosh, man, why you doing this shit, Jen? Come back to the light, Jen. And he does that, right?
Yeah.
Where it stops off though actually caught me by surprise. Well, it actually stops off around the Amish Paradise era. That's all we'll see. And
Right.
points for that Coolio cameo way. When I see
Right.
that, I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
and in the context of it too, I was like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it,
Exactly. If
I
you know
love
the
it, I love
history.
it, I love it, I love it, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, whether
But
yeah,
another thing.
yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, sorry, Kade, but another thing what the show does very well though is that it kind of blurs the line between what is
Yeah.
real and what isn't though,
Yeah. No,
because
it's
yeah,
very
like there's
clever.
a moment
Yeah.
involving like a reveal, like his dad made a reveal. I did wondering like that's actually true though, even though I know the song that will be inspired out of it kind of has nothing to do with it really. But and
Right.
then now I'm kind of wondering if what actually is true. Like I feel like there's some subtext in it that
That's what I'm
is
saying.
actually
I
true.
do think,
It's
it have
really
a lot
weird.
of stuff hidden in the background, like you're not sure if real or fake. Like, okay, when they did all the pictures at the ending, they show a picture that looked very real with Weird Al and the same who Rainn Wilson played, but they showed the real guy.
Yes.
But like you can't, I don't know if it's they Photoshop it or not now. Like if they just make up something that is fake because they show Rainn
Well,
Wilson.
some of the pictures, to be fair, are photoshopped there. But yeah, there are a few ways like, nah, this had to be real. Yeah.
That's the thing. A bunch of them look real now, and same thing with the statements in the world. It's like, wait, how much of this is real statements or not? Like that looking like something that might be a real thing and they reference or not now, and they make it work. But then they go off the reels with Pablo Escobar kidnapping Madonna and all kind of nonsense
Boy,
stuff.
that
And
that that shit came out. That
yeah,
no, they didn't come out of nowhere, Trent. Because
yeah,
they set it up, but I
yeah,
didn't know this guy would go there, boy.
yeah.
I was like, admittedly, I wasn't sure if it's gonna work, boy, but they just kept
It
going
is,
with it. But I was
yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
double up.
just
And
keep
it's
going,
funny.
keep going, keep going. Okay, it's funny.
Yeah,
This villain.
yeah,
But
and it's
good to
funny.
get bring up
Yeah,
Madonna too, boy, because I have to give also credit to McGill, Eva Rachel Wood, boy, who
right.
played
Yeah.
Madonna. Like I
Well,
I
yeah, you take it.
saw an article
For her.
that she was well, I saw an article that she was gonna play her, right? But again, I just thinking, okay, music biopic, she'll just be a side character. No, she's like what it leads to, Trent, and
Yeah,
she like. I don't know, like it's so weird that this show exists because I imagine Madonna, of course, had something to do with it. So yeah, Madonna probably was like just in stitches, just seeing how Evan
yeah,
played her, Trent. But yeah, Evan just kind of plays like, yeah, I am the '80s Madonna, I am the sex symbol and whatnot. But e- but even her hooking up with Al makes no sense, and yet you
right,
buy into it. And where they
right.
take her character to is just so weird and
Yeah,
crazy and ridiculous.
right.
But it still works though because of how convincing she is. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I had a good character
Well,
Evan too.
I actually thought she was playing Cindy Lauper, not Madonna. I was thinking, oh, it looked like
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well,
I thought it
Cindy
was
does
that.
show up. She does have a cameo near the end. Actually, I forgot to
Right,
mention.
right. But yeah, they make it work for waiters. It funny. It really well done. Everything come together so well. Like it did basically give us. It is a spiritual sequel in many ways to uh UHF in some ways, but it really
I
more
felt so. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it more feels like I would argue more. it's really work hard, and there's a little bit of like a kind of a little bit of Spinal Tap as well. Like if you remember that, right?
Oh,
Uh,
of course, yeah, classic
right.
film. This is Spinal Tap. I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
dude, as you say that, let me pull in
Michael
the
McKean, I think, was
yeah,
in
Michael
this.
McKean was in this. Yeah,
Yeah, he
like
was in this. Yes.
word. All right, all right.
Yeah, Michael McKean was in this. But yeah, they make it work. It just come together so well. It is the humor is a little dated. I'll admit. It feels that type of humor that look, the 90s was the 90s. Have that type of you do a
Yeah,
thing
it's the
and
Naked Gun humor. It's the
right.
Zucker Brothers
No,
humor.
but to me, Naked Gun humor holds up. But I talk about like the really 90s SNL humor. Now. That kind of
Oh,
a
right.
reference, but it's just a joke, and it just you don't really say that you take it interesting, but it's just a joke and a funny face, and you think it should land, but it's like all right, people starve for comedy back then, so whatever. Um, that's about it. But yeah, I thoroughly love this. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as this. I am giving this a 9.5 out of 10. Closer to a 9, but very, very high still.
Nice.
It just exactly what it needed to be given who they're talking about, Jared. And it's very clever and well done. And I didn't expect it to be as I didn't really expect it to be as clever as it was, to be honest. Yeah, really well done. I loved it.
Yeah, I did not expect to enjoy and love the show as well, man. The joke I make on Facebook is that similar to Walk Hard, this is indeed a music biopic for people who hate music biopics, right?
Right.
If it just find it too cliche and too, derivative, you know what I mean? Like, oh, the character will go through this meltdown and, fall on stage or blah blah blah, and then eventually they will be redeemed and blah blah blah. Yeah, this show just takes that and just flips it and just makes it even more absurd and funny, right? And in closing, though, what really makes the show totally work is that despite all of the weirdness in it, though, sorry, despite the absurdity in it and ridiculousness, it really does live up to the title. It
Right.
is weird and it is a Yankovic story, so the title is totally justified in this one. But
Yeah.
yeah, hands down, this is one of the funniest movies I've seen this year, one of the best movies I've seen this year. So for me, I'm gonna give this a light 4.5 out of 5, man. I really enjoy this, man. Daniel Radcliffe again gives one of the best performances of the year, boy. This man needs to do more weird comedic shit in the near future. This
Yeah.
man has a future in that, boy, for sure, man. I just how everything plays out though is not it's unlike anything that you will see like in movies though, and I guess it makes sense that it came out on a streaming platform and it came out through Roku actually, right? I think it makes sense that that it is that way, right? Because I think if I'm not mistaken, Walk Hard was a flop in the box office, right? But it's
Right.
kind of like a cult classic now. I still think it's one of the funniest movies of the 2000s, right? And yeah, this feels like again like Walk Hard meets UHF, man. And it
Yeah.
just feels appropriate to who the man is, right? So yeah, did not we did not expect a Al Yankovic biopic. We got one. It was not what we expected, but it's way better than we expected it to be, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the real deal. Y'all need to check this out, man, for sure.